All right, ready? But speak into the mic.
She co-hosted the show, Robert.
Oh my God,
That's
God's
true.
sakes.
Listen, Mr. Romance.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Film Hustlers. Hey guys, what's going on?
Hey, what's going on?
Nice to see you. I want to remind everyone to go to Apple Music or wherever you get your podcasts.
A little purple icon.
Apple Podcasts, and there's a little purple icon. You can get up to 5 stars. You can leave a review.
Dude, you got to do that.
There are episodes of the shows where you can literally pick, getting a lawyer for your movie, or you can pick, Antoine Fisher's story, how he made it, or Tommy Harper's story, how he kind of went from an AD to an executive producer in all the biggest movies in Hollywood. But you can pick them and send them to people who may need them.
I have friends actually who've reached out, who I told them about the podcast, and they go back to the first season and they'll shoot me a text like cracking up about certain episodes, and I have no idea what they're talking about. I'm like, what do you mean? Roberts and I. And they're like, oh, episode 8. This was so fucking funny. So
we were funnier back then.
Were we funnier back then?
Yeah, we had more jokes, and the shows were longer, so we had to make up things. Today, though, I want to get into it right away because there's kind of a lot to talk about. We're not going to talk about film stuff per se. Ooh. We're going to talk about non-scripted reality. Kind of want to talk about IG a little bit.
Okay.
Just to figure out if people if people in the industry should be thinking about pivoting and moving into the space of non-scripted and reality, which that's a big space, So we have Ann Lewis Roberts here today.
Hey.
Yeah. Welcome back.
Welcome back. This is, I don't know, you've been on the show more than anyone else.
Yeah.
Like more than any other guest.
She's like a co-host.
Yeah, so she wins.
Co-host.
She
That's
wins.
a badge of honor.
Yeah.
I'm very excited.
Your expertise is in non-scripted. If you want to go back and listen to Anne's episode, it's really great.
Yeah.
It talks about her entire career. We're not going to get into that today, but just to give you an idea, she started at Entertainment Tonight. Then she moved over and launched Access Hollywood, and then she moved over and worked at E, where the Kardashians ended up starting. So you've had a pretty amazing, 10 years, however long it took to build all those shows.
Did you build a Kardashians?
I put a Kardashian on the first E show. It was called Filthy Rich Cattle Drive, and Courtney was on it.
I remember that show. Was that you?
That was me.
Oh, okay.
That was me with Joe Simpson.
Oh my God, Joe Simpson, remember that?
Joe Simpson, and then my friend Elliot Goldberg and Ryan Seacrest decided to go over to the Kardashians' house. Had nothing to do with that show, but they went over to the Kardashians' house, and he was the one who discovered them as a reality show.
Right now in the industry, there's a strike. WJ striking. SAG is probably going to strike, which is going to shut down everything. I don't know how they do it. I don't know how you turn something into nothing.
Yeah.
You go into shooting a reality show, and sometimes you don't know exactly what you have an idea, I think, but you don't know exactly what you're going to shoot, and then you turn it into a show, and then a network says, can there be something else happening here? And then you turn that into something. It's remarkable. I think it's an amazing thing. But what's the industry like these days as it refers to reality? We were talking about it the other day. I thought that maybe reality wasn't as big as it was 5 years ago. Is that not true? Mm-hmm. No. See?
Unscripted, how you watch documentary after documentary after documentary. I mean, unscripted is basically versions of that, versions of Entertainment Tonight segments, versions of CBS Morning segments where you see something that you find interesting, like bachelors who get to speed date with 20 people. You pull that apart, that segment, and that becomes a show. That becomes The Bachelor. So it's anything that is quirky or interesting, and then you turn that into a couple of different things, right? Either a doc where you follow somebody, or a competition show, or TLC's full of just every quirky thing you've ever imagined, right? The foot guy and the 600-pound sisters. Again, those are unique, interesting stories that you wish someone would tell you. Then they pull it apart, cast it, and turn it into a series. Everybody was thinking with the strike that there was going to be filling in with all the unscripted television, because back in 2008, when that other strike happened, was it 2008? Yeah. It was a massive, massive boon for unscripted. And all of the shows from that time really became solidified because they just aired them over and over again. They kept picking up season after season after season. So I'm not sure if that's Big Brother and Survivor and The Bachelor, but those shows just really had a chokehold on us because we watched a lot of them year after year. And I think some of the shows people didn't pick up year after year before that, like you would pick up a scripted show. But back in that day, it became, of course, we're going to have another season and another season and another season. This time is really different because this is also the imploding of television as you know it between the streamers and the broadcasters and all that's going on. So it is 1,000% the opposite of what it was in 2008, where everybody was like, what do you got? Unscripted. Right now, nobody's buying anything. Everybody is scared to death because people have been fired at every single company.
Yep.
And so executives are listening and looking behind them and saying, like, am I next? And what are we buying? And who's going to win? So if my company bought a streamer and I have 6 other broadcast channels and cable channels, who's going to win? Who are we programming for? Are we programming for Peacock? Are we programming for Max? Are we programming for Discovery Plus? It's a really tricky time while people try and figure it out.
So the difference between 2008 and now is that in 2008, they were doing all these reality shows. And I think what started to happen is they started creating entire networks, like Food Network, that ended up blowing up. And, you have all these shows about food and about traveling and about eating
HGTV.
HGTV,
home
about
renovation.
building, home renovation. And right, exactly.
Well, that was about 20 years ago.
So that was 20 years ago, but it didn't really blow up until the strike happened. Then all of a sudden it was populated with all of these super hits, right?
Broadcast network blew up in the unscripted space in primetime because before that, primetime was really the holy grail for scripted, and that's where you won the Emmys, and that's what you were so proud of. And unscripted was a dirty secret that was on the cable channels, the HGTVs and the food and the pet channel and Animal Planet. That was sort of like the dirty little secret that you would go home and watch. But on the broadcast networks, it was
Seinfeld,
high quality.
Friends.
Yes.
Yeah.
Seinfeld. And when those shows went away in 2008, people said, okay, guess what? We're going to have to do different shows and put them on. And that's when they became less embarrassing for the networks and they made money.
Was Extreme Home Makeover like one of the biggest to come along that ended up fitting in like an 8 o'clock time slot on a Thursday night or Friday night?
Yes. And that was because, it was feel good. It was on ABC. ABC would never put on a show like Masked Singer at that time, which is just a crazy fun variety show. They wanted something with heart. So every time that they helped a deserving family, it fit in with the other shows that are on ABC, like good feeling sitcom heart. Mm-hmm. But then they eventually went on to do The Bachelor. I wish I knew what year The Bachelor came out, but The Bachelor started out, finding love, and we all know what The Bachelor is.
Right. And Big Brother. There were some other ones. Survivor.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. The Amazing Race.
Yeah.
And again, The Amazing Race started winning awards, and I remember when it started being nominated for Emmys, people on the scripted side were going crazy because, again, there's just less room for them to win those Emmys. Yeah. If something in the unscripted space. And they were mad, too, because they thought we were taking their slots. I don't know that scripted people feel the same way anymore. Maybe they do, but nobody was happy about scripted filling in at that time, except for broadcasters when they realized it was working.
Yeah, Dirty Jobs won a lot of Emmys too.
Dirty Jobs.
I like that show. That was a good show. 1999, The Bachelor, first season.
Wow.
Yeah.
So The Bachelor, I think when it first started, wasn't necessarily going to come back for so many seasons, but by 2008, I think there were 2 seasons a year, right? Yeah. You had The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. So anything that was doing well back then, they doubled the order. And then all those game shows, a lot of Steve Hart, all the game shows that came on, those were not there at the time.
It's pretty remarkable. Also, there's a big difference between 2008 and all of these networks being populated with non-scripted and now, because now, I don't even understand how it all works, but you've got free TV, You've got cable TV, which some people still have a cable box, so there are networks like A&E, Lifetime, Bio, that you have to have a cable box to watch, right? You can't subscribe to it. So they're hanging on to whatever money they can make from the cable box. You've got this free paid ads, or what is it?
AVOD.
Fast channel.
You have AVOD.
Free.
You have fast channels. I don't even know what a fast channel is. What is a fast channel? And is there an example of a fast channel?
Free ad-supported streaming television. So Pluto TV has fast channels on it. So that just means programming that used to be sold into syndication or in a library somewhere that you would find, or a Cozy TV.
I love Pluto
Cozy TV, dude.
I love Pluto TV.
You like Pluto? I've never heard of these things. I don't even know where to find
Made in
them.
Mexico's on Pluto.
Is it?
Yeah, it is.
Oh, okay.
It's also on ChicanoHollywood.com.
Yeah, and then you have that. Like,
So is Freevee?
Let's just use that as an example. So Amazon Television.
Freevee is owned by Amazon?
Freevee is owned by Amazon, and Amazon actually bought IMDb TV, which was IMDb was the industry library for actors and writers and directors. It was a directory, IMDb, and that's how you found out who represented actors and actresses. And then during that digital moment in time in the 2000s, they started doing videos to go with that. And then Amazon bought it, and then Amazon turned it into Freevee. So Amazon is something you have to buy the app in order to have it, or you have Prime
Prime. Yeah.
Video, and it comes with it. But lots of people don't want to buy that. So they were like, okay, we have to figure out how to get another bite at that apple until we can force everybody to buy the app. And why don't we make Freevee free and have advertisers pay to be in it? So it's free to a regular person who doesn't want to buy the app, but it's still owned by Amazon, and they still hope you're going to go buy the Amazon app because they advertise on it. But otherwise, they just program stuff that isn't anywhere else.
Yeah.
So now there's like 1,000 of these fast channels.
Right.
Some air on streamers, some air on like the YouTube lineup, some air on Pluto. And basically you go find the one that has the programming you like. You have to watch it like you used to watch a broadcast channel, where you have to tune in when something comes on. It's different than Netflix or Amazon, where you pick what you want to watch because you paid for it. And you have to watch the commercials because that's how it's getting paid for. You're not paying for it, but what you give up is that you have to watch what they program, and you have to watch the commercials, which is basically NBC, ABC.
Yeah, it's the original.
CBS,
It's like how it's what it used to be, right? Like if you want to watch a show, then you have to watch the commercial. There's no TiVo. Well, I don't have TiVo anymore, right?
Yeah, there is. I have it.
No, TiVo. What's it called? Where you stop it? I can't.
Oh yeah, where it's recording television. Yeah.
So they don't have that on a fast channel, right? You have to
you can stop it. Oh, I don't know actually.
You can't zoom through the commercials.
That's
you
right.
have to watch the commercials.
Yeah. So then what's the difference between AVOD, advertisement video on demand?
So that's just the way you watch it. So AVOD means that if you go to watch that, you can pick Made in Mexico and watch it. You don't have to watch whatever they've programmed in those different day parts.
That's like Pluto, and they just rake episodes. Like they're running regardless. Like you can turn it on; it's always playing.
It's just gonna run. But like even AVOD, so like Made in Mexico, it has commercials in it, right? That's how they make their money. So like, okay, you pick Made in Mexico, you start watching.
That's how you make money, hopefully.
That's how I make money. Yeah, and supposedly it's a lot more lucrative for filmmakers to go AVOD versus VOD, video on demand, because that's when you have to purchase.
Right.
So
So ad-supported video on demand, AVOD, is more lucrative because if a programmer puts Made in Mexico on, they're going to put it on once a month. And if I want to watch that content and I go to it, it may get picked by 100 of us.
Yeah.
So each time it gets picked, you get paid. Whereas on free fast channels, the programmer is probably not going to pick it that many times.
Right.
So a lot of this is just the distribution channel of it, like where it lives. And And that's why I think people are sitting on their hands right now, because we're all waiting. And that this has never happened before in the history of media, ever, ever, ever. Not even when cable channels came, because when cable channels came, we just knew we were going to have room for everything, because broadcast networks were so different from Animal Planet, or Bravo. At this moment in time, so many big corporations have bought real estate that each one of these, Warner Brothers Discovery owns 2 streamers that they have to figure out how to program, and you have to pay for both of them, right? So that's Max and Discovery Plus. They own all those other channels, CNN, HGTV, Food Network, and they have to figure out, are we going to program for those things, or are we going to program for Max and Discovery Plus that are going to be the future, that you're going to buy those apps? So right now, again, when you go to pitch to somebody at Warner Brothers Discovery, you still do go to pitch at HGTV and Food, because those are juggernauts and not going away anytime soon, because people are used to paying for that bundle. But someday, those are going to end up on either Discovery Plus or Max, and those cable channels are going to go away. It's just, we're at the precipice of it. Like, who's going to win? And it's based on humans, which is still awesome. It's based on viewers. Like, viewers during COVID were buying more and more apps. And then all of a sudden they were like, wait, I have 16 apps that I pay for. And that costs the same as trying to unplug from my bundle. So recently you've seen on Disney Plus, like, again, Netflix, it's slowing down because people are like, okay, I don't need that many apps. So they're unplugging or watching their one series, watching their Ted Lasso on Apple TV. And then like, oh, I'm done. I'm going to unplug next month. And so again, programmers and owners are like, shit, what do we do when someone unplugs after they watch one show? How do we get them to stay? And it might end up being taking all of your assets, putting it on your streaming app, and forcing people to come watch HGTV and Food and Ted Lasso. It's not Ted Lasso, and Max, which is The Last of Us and Succession, and you force yourself to put it all into one thing.
That would make the most sense.
Just to be clear, we've got HBO, HBO Max, which is no longer HBO Max. It's called Max.
Okay, that's Max.
You've got Disney Plus. You've got Apple. You've got Netflix. You've got all
Prime.
these ones that you pay for. Prime.
Discovery Plus.
So you pay for these, and you can pick what you want to watch.
Paramount Plus.
As long as it's there, you can pick it, watch it whenever you want, stream the entire season. Now, and then there's also fast channels, free TV, which you watch and has commercials just like we used to have.
Old school style, yeah.
Old school, you have to watch what they have. And then there's still cable, which you can't just watch anytime you want.
There's tons living there.
And then you've got AVOD and VOD.
Yeah.
Is that everything? Probably not. There's probably other things. There's IG, there's YouTube, right?
Yeah.
And then there's just apps. Like Johnny from Chicano Hollywood has an app that's basically the same as, it's laid out just like a Netflix.
What does that mean, though, for people that are trying to make money? I mean, it's so spread out now.
So it's saturated.
So is there money to be made? Who's earning the money when you're so spread out all over the board? Is it the streamers that are really making good money because they're actually getting paid $17, $18, $19, or actually Paramount's only $6 or $5 a month, and I think Apple's only $7. But they're making good money because they know they've got millions and millions of viewers. But what about the free TV guys? Is that just pennies?
No, because it's at every price point, right? So not everyone in America can afford to sign up for all those apps. Not everyone in America can afford a cable bundle with ESPN 1, 2, 3, 6, and 12, so you have, everybody's appetite is really different, and then everyone's age dictates what they're aware of. Somebody who's 50 and older probably isn't aware of Chicano TV.
Yeah.
They just probably aren't unless someone told them about it. So I think we are the last generation of people to, and I look at me and you because I think we're the older ones here in the group. We're the last generation of people to have grown up with The broadcast networks, you drove home so you could see, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. Yeah, must-see TV. That's not the way our kids watch television. They didn't get grandfathered into it. It's why syndication just went away. Because even though Access Hollywood is syndication, but the syndication departments at most places used to be, and why writers are mad, and this plays into the writer's strike, it used to be if you wrote a show, you prayed that you could get to 100 episodes. When you got to 100 episodes, a syndicator bought it from you, and they started re-airing it again, and then the writer would get money from that. If you ran it over again, like Frasier, that ran for years. So each year you'd get a little less money and a little less money and a little less money. But those shows made money for people for the rest of the dawn of time. You're done. So now if that goes on a streamer, it parks itself in their library. And there is no rerunning money that goes. It's just there every second of every day. You don't have to wait for it to air again. You don't have to wait for that episode. You just go get it. So everybody's having to figure out, like, how does that work for writers and producers and actors who you used to wait for that syndication money? Like, that's gone.
That's crazy. I mean, there was a time when Disney, you watched, like, you waited for, well, you guys are too young, but there was a Disney movie every Sunday, and you'd watch, hope Bambi came on, because Bambi was in theaters and not available to watch anywhere else unless Disney showed it to you on a Sunday night movie. Those days are over. You can see whatever you want now. You can see Bambi all day long on the Disney Channel. But yeah, that's interesting. I mean, who knows where it's going to end up? For people that are thinking about pivoting and starting to pitch reality, is there something that is working or not working, or stopped working, or?
My answer is still the same as what I think I said the first time we talked about this. You have to, if you're new to unscripted, you have to go attach yourself to somebody who is successful in the business, because it's not about you coming up with your ideas. So say you get lucky enough to get to the right person to pitch, they most likely are not going to pick you, because you have to spend your money on a sure thing. And someone you don't know, talent wise and producer wise,
got it.
And someone you don't know is a blind date and is not, and you aren't going to want to do it, and your boss isn't going to want you to do it. So you've got to be a proven entity to pitch to somebody. So you could have the best new idea in the whole wide world, be very hard to sell it if you aren't attached to somebody who has spent that buyer's money well and had a hit. They're just can't do it. They can't take a chance on people anymore. So even overseas formats that do well, you still have to partner with somebody who could produce that here.
See, I'm pitching my to Ann, and then we're going to Stanky with the motel show. Remember the makeover motel?
You already went
That's
to Stanky. You don't need anyone else. You're okay.
Well, no, I'm going with Ann. What are you, aren't you paying attention, Roberts? He's not going to listen to me. She's proven entity.
He's a magic maker.
Hey, he wants Fazools. Yeah, he wants Fazools.
See, he wants Fazools.
He wants Fazools.
I mean, look, all that stuff's pretty fascinating. I think what I'm deducing from this is, if you're out there and you have ideas and you're not a known producer, you should team up with somebody who has experience in the field of reality. I think it's the same for film. Find someone that you can team up with that can get you through the door, that people trust, with a bunch of money, and then just make sure you get your piece. Do a really, really good job, and maybe next time they'll trust you. Is that a possibility?
All you have to have is one thing under your belt that you did well, and then that buyer is going to say they did it before.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be a track record of 10 years. It just has to be that you did it.
Yeah.
You did it once and you did it well.
And you want some Fazools. That's the bottom line.
Yeah, you got to get some Fazools.
And what is working right now is competition is still working on the cable level. On the Netflix has a bunch of good love/competition shows. Travel shows still do well. Dave Chang going and tasting food all over the country. So if you have a couple of format mashups, like food and travel. And for Disney Plus, Disney's just doing, they're one of those delicious silos where they're taking Marvel, Pixar, ABC, and they're sort of only do programming that's in their world. So it's kind of hard to wedge yourself and pitch to them because they know their world so well.
So the whole industry is really at a point of reinvention, really, especially with all of these networks and all these things. Even we doing A Beautiful Darkness, we're thinking about going to Tubi, maybe saying like, hey, we'll do this for you because we know you don't have a ton of money. We'll do this for you for a little bit less, a whole series.
They're doing a series with
Joe Lawrence.
Yeah, they're doing a show like
With
a crime
Lawrence?
series with him, which looks like a legit budgeted show, you know. Question though for you, Ian. So going back to like the travel, like you were saying, food and travel and stuff like that. If you did say on the Instagram, if you did your own like kind of show like that, hit, you know what I mean? You do it on IG. Because I had a great show for Davey Dave called On a Sick One, and he would travel around LA and go to different places, and we would eat food. Still would do food. But if you do it on your IG and you get a little bit of a following, could you then take that to someone like yourself and say, hey, look, here's this show, we do it. Would you be interested? Would you then take it out? Partner? Does stuff like that work?
It's brilliant. It's the new sizzle reel. You know,
Right.
People used to have sizzle reels where they were like, this is what it could look like. This is jumping over that and saying, not only this is what it could look like, people are killing for this and clamoring. That's that cheap old houses that I talked about all that time ago.
Let's talk about that right now real quick. So Anne has a show that I believe you guys with Bill Stanky discovered on IG.
Yeah.
Right? Tell us about that, because that's exactly what you're talking about. Tell us about Cheap Old Houses. What's the name of the new show, by the way? We don't know yet?
We don't know yet. People are voting.
What are the possibilities for the name?
I want to vote. Send me the link.
Yes, I want you to vote. The first show was more of a looky-loo real estate show. It was called Cheap Old Houses. It was very similar to the Awesome Instagram feed. And then the second season is now an hour, and it is helping couples buy a cheap old house and then starting them out with the renovation, which is really a restoration on a cheap old house. So
you know what I like about your show? This is one of my favorite thing about the show is that there's rules. You cannot renovate a house or buy a house that costs more than $150,000. Is that true? That's pretty cool.
That is pretty cool.
So it cannot cost more than $150,000. So every house they do on the show has to cost less. And I think that's pretty interesting. What's the cheapest house that?
$1.
Jeez.
Wow.
See, that's amazing, right?
$1.
I mean, that's a good show. That sucks you in.
A really cool old church that they couldn't keep up anymore, and so they wanted someone to come in and keep it and restore it, and they would give it to somebody for $1 if they promised to just do right by it.
So that's an IG Instagram called Cheap Old Houses. Check it out. Who are your partners on that?
It's Elizabeth and Ethan Finkelstein, and they are the curators of this IG account, which blew up during the pandemic. But really, she's a preservationist, and he was a marketing genius. And she grew up in a cheap old house, and she was like, why don't more people know about this? Yeah. So she just started posting, and then she partnered with real estate companies, and then it became a movement of people who were like, what? I can move to upstate New York or Ohio or Indiana, and I can buy a house that's super cool for $40,000 with beautiful wood floors and wood windows and blah, blah. Mm-hmm. And all I have to do is scrub a little bit, sand a little bit.
Your other partners are?
So my production partner is my good friend Jenny Daly at Critical Content, who does, who's such a juggernaut and does lots of stuff in the lifestyle space. And then Bill Stanky is the manager of Ethan and Elizabeth, and Ethan and Elizabeth Finkelstein are the creators, and they're the brains behind all of this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What's really cool is, so it's kind of like escapism, because in the pandemic you go on, like, you're on IG and you see these old houses, and you can kind of like make believe in your head, like moving in, what the lifestyle would be like. You look out the picture of the window, the yard, but then they also have one too, the ones that are in different countries, like Italy. You could move into like
France,
all these old places, and it's the same type of deal. You know what I mean? So it's almost like it's escapism. I mean, I'm not gonna
Cheap Old House International, and that's why I was asking you about the newsletters, because they have a special newsletter that if you pay a little bit more once a month, you get these leads that are not on the Instagram, and that you can find first, because people are buying them up.
People are buying them up.
So,
oh my God, the little $10,000 houses in Sicily.
Yeah. So you need to get a piece of that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Right. So when does the show come out? Do you know?
It's going to be the first quarter of 2024. And then title choices are Who's Afraid of a Cheap Old House?
I vote for that one.
Desperately Seeking a Cheap Old House, or Who Wants to Buy a Cheap Old House? So
They're all pretty good. They're all good.
Yeah.
Hey,
We'll vote.
Yeah.
Which one do you like?
the first one.
Yeah.
That one's getting the most traction right now.
I think that one.
Well, that's exciting. Let me ask you guys this. This is really important. Have you heard of a company called extrememusic.com?
I use them all the time.
Do you really? Oh, that's the first
See
time
that?
someone says that. I think most big companies, and she's a big company girl, use extrememusic.com. How do you use them? I've already said a million times how I use them, but how do you use extrememusic.com? Do you create an account? Do you have folders? Like, what do you do?
Yes, Critical Content and we have an account, and we do a couple of cool things. One, they do a really good job of having silos, so like the romantic feel or the travel feel, so you can go in and punch in your numbers. But we've been using it for so long that now we all have our favorites. So we sort of make like our playlists like you would on Spotify, and we say, oh my God, these are the good ones. These are the good ones with lyrics. These are the good ones, for...
So you create folders.
We create folders, and then we pass them around at the office, and not outside the company, because you don't want everybody using your special folders. But
Your mixtape.
Yeah, your mixtape.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool. I didn't even think about that, but I guess so. You guys do so many shows that you have your folders, so that for reality, for drama, for whatever you're doing, that's pretty cool. Well, extrememusic.com, Russ Emanuel, see? Setting up the folders.
Setting up the
making
folders.
it happen.
All your music needs.
For all your music needs. Well, look, this has been super informative. We could talk about this all day.
Yeah.
But you've been through, I don't want to date you, I'm going to say 10 years, but to be honest, if you think about when you worked on Entertainment Tonight, was there any other entertainment show when you worked on that?
no.
So Entertainment Tonight was the first,
Yeah.
and it was the best, and it was where you got your entertainment. There was no internet, there was no Google, right? You had to watch Entertainment Tonight, so that must have been really cool.
It still does. It rates the highest still.
Is it really?
Oh yeah. Oh, without a doubt. Yeah, they're still pulling in big numbers. Yeah.
Did you guys come up with that song? Was it?
I was there after it had already been on for like 20 years.
Oh, is that true? Okay.
Yeah. I wasn't around in the beginning.
Right.
I
No,
wasn't
of
around in
course
the beginning
not.
of Access.
Yeah.
But what's interesting is when all those other shows came in, that's why someone like Mario and Kit they're so important, because Mario is an entertainer and he's so engaging. So is Kit. They're so damn cute together. Courtney Lopez, my favorite on-camera talent ever. They had to step it up and make it engaging as humans, as well as just report the news, because there's so many shows out there now. How do you pick? And, Mario and Kit are adorable, and I want to see them. I want to spend time with them.
Well, you teed them up. You're still doing shows. You're producing now. Or do you think you'll ever go back to working at a studio or being an executive?
I'm really enjoying producing, but those executive jobs are really fun too. When you have a big franchise, more and more these days, those executive jobs are. I hate to say it, but those jobs are, how do we fire a bunch of people and reinvent this wheel? It's just a moment in time where that is happening, and lots of great people have lost their jobs, and they will come back in different positions. But those positions are fun because you get to greenlight things and make them happen, and they will be back. It's just going to look different 2 years from now when you guys have made your 6th movie, and Tootie barely will speak to us. I'm so curious to see what this world looks like, but you're always going to need dreamers and executives who are willing to put themselves out there and try and make things happen. And you're always going to need content creators. So weirdly, I think this business is going to go on and on and on and on and on forever. It's just the distribution channels are just going to change, and how much we pay to find the content we want.
You know a lot about what's happening out there. You got your finger on the pulse.
Now
as
I know
they
where
say.
you get it from. I was thinking you're so smart, Roberts. You get it from Ann Roberts.
That's
where
correct.
you get it from.
That's correct.
You're just regurgitating her words. You use the same words even sometimes.
That's right.
Come
Well, no, she
on.
may be getting it from me. So last thing I want to talk about real quick, I think this is really important. A lot of people wonder how people make money on IG. And Dave, I know that you have the answers to this. You were kind of talking about it earlier.
Was it the Benz or the Hummer that he drives?
Wow.
No, but
Mark was telling me about it.
Can people make
IG
money on
money.
IG still?
Yeah, they can.
And when was the heyday?
The heyday for creators, as far as like structured payouts, was like a year ago. It started about a year ago, a little over a year. They had a creator fund. It was up to $1 billion.
Wow.
Paid out by Meta. And then, so some people got really good deals. I know I got a good deal, and then lasted a while. Like it kind of went up. It was like a big wave. So like there was a few months where I got like a big chunk of every month. You got a big chunk of changes. So I can only imagine people who had like 15 million followers, what their max payout was. But yeah, that was one way. There's another way you can do brand deals if you can land them. You can do paid ads. Those are kind of easy. You don't really make a lot off of those, but you can do a lot of them.
So people were getting paid out from the $1 billion fund that was created by IG Facebook, and then that ended.
Yeah, that ended a couple months ago, maybe 3 months ago, I think, like that.
So then all those people that were counting on that money every month, including yourself, are now have to find different ways of making that dough.
Yeah. So I mean, it's tough. It's tough if it's your full-time thing. I mean, I've been doing it for like over 10 years. So. But it just came like there's other YouTube has been going on. They have the same kind of creator fund, TikTok, Snapchat, Instagram is the only one that I was really connected to because I had a larger following. So like it kind of landed in my lap, which was cool. I don't have a following on YouTube. I don't have a following on TikTok or Snapchat. So
who's OnlyFans? Like you got an
OnlyFans?
I might need to get on that.
Show your feet. So
show your feet.
Feetfinder.com.
Feetfinder.com. So if someone's out there listening, thinking to themselves, "Oh, I'm going to be an influencer. I'm going to figure out how to make money on YouTube or one of these platforms," which one should they go to?
The OG, probably YouTube. Reason being is because they have the highest payout. But you do need a substantial following and views.
How many followers?
Subscriptions, right? I don't think it's followers.
Oh yeah, how many subscriptions?
Okay, you need at least 1,000 followers on YouTube. But if you get millions of views, you can do pretty well.
Yeah.
It goes based off of views on YouTube.
Yeah. Well, you heard it
here. I
here.
have 1,000 followers on Instagram. Does that mean anything?
No. Sorry.
Well, I think if you're out there and you're thinking about becoming an influencer, making money, on one of these platforms, I guess YouTube's the place to go. There's no more money at IG unless you're monetizing it yourself, right? Yeah.
What about the TikTok? That's another one. The TikTok. I just called it the TikTok.
He said no to the TikTok.
They have a creator fund, but it's very small, minimal.
How do people make money on TikTok? Because I watch a lot of TikTok.
Yeah, it's because there's so many people. There's like over 3.5 billion people on TikTok.
What?
So,
billion?
3 billion. So, in order to make it, you're just getting little change thrown at you, pretty much for 100,000 views, that kind of things. It's very, very small. I mean, you're getting some, but also what helps is the brand deals that people get off of their followers and their views.
But you're not paying the rent with that. No way.
With the basic creator fund, no. There's no way. You need a brand deal, just like on IG, YouTube. You get sponsored. I mean, that's what I've hoped for. I mean, you've had some, but
I hope it all comes back because
you're telling me
they're taking away lots of money. They're taking lots of money off the table on all platforms.
Well, here's what it did for me. It just
Hummer, Mercedes. That's what it did.
Well, no, I was able to do things and buy stuff that I needed at the time.
Diamond Jesus on his neck right now. Come on.
I got like 40 new pairs of shoes. No, but it just motivated me to why do I want to make content anymore? Like I was getting hooked up to have people engage and stay on the platform. Yeah. Now everybody's just like, the creators like, why do I care? Like I'm going to go somewhere else.
I was talking to Ann about this in the car on our way over here. We were talking about like why do these people that have 40 million followers, or that's a lot, but like 20 million followers, 10 million followers, like 2
million's a lot.
There is less of a motivation, right, to do the content stuff since you're not getting paid for it that much anymore.
Yeah. One example would be the Fat Jew. He was a popular internet account, for years and years. But he had no skin in the game as far as getting paid. So like he was like, I'm giving up, and especially when he got shit about stealing other people's memes and stuff like that. And it's like, hey, you know what? I got 12 million followers, but I'm not getting anything out of it. I'm just getting grief.
So did he quit his account?
No, it's still there, but it's not active. I mean, he posts once a month maybe.
Hey, but let me tell you something. Dave stepped it up recently. Have you been looking at his IG?
Davey Save?
Davey Save, yeah. He's got like this thing where he wakes up.
Oh, yeah. I
all
like
scared.
that one. Oh, no, when he's got the goggles,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
it's daytime out.
Yeah,
and then but he's wide awake.
Yeah,
Like,
but that's how scary the stuff that he's imagining.
And then he has the text, right? He has the text, and he looks over his shoulder.
So let me tell you
And then
something.
he puts it back.
I'll explain what's
Are
going
you
on.
getting more viewers? Because that's pretty
I
awesome.
like those
Here's the
ones.
thing. I need
I
to.
feel like Davey Dave is red right now.
I feel it. No, I feel like I had to immerse myself in my own content because I'm getting tired of posting other people's stuff or like, just I want to be, just let me be myself now. You know what I mean? Like it was tough, and I wanted to not that I didn't want to show my face or anything like that, but I think that I deserve to make my own content too,
Yeah.
you know what I mean?
It was funny.
and it's kind of a release for me. It's a creative thing that it kind of wets the beak a little bit.
I like
would
the one where you're like thinking, like you're drinking the drink, then you stop and you think, and then you're like, okay, there you go.
He's good, right?
Yeah,
It's
it's
funny.
good. It's
I
good.
like it a lot better than the memes. I think it's really funny. I've gone back to it. I saved a couple of them just because they're funny.
That's what's up. So that's the kind of thing that I need to do because the other stuff was not satisfying. This is kind of making me want to stay on the platforms and continue. That's why.
We
Is
can't.
this a new channel?
No, it's his IG.
Just on my normal page. But yeah, just another. Like I just had to take another avenue so I can entertain myself.
Have fun.
So
Yeah.
it's kind of like, he went from travel to food. Like now he's cooking. So it's kind of like that. He was travel, no more money in travel. Now he's making quesadillas.
Or
There you go.
no, he was reality. Now he's scripted.
There we go.
There you go.
There we go.
Yeah, yeah.
Can I
Yeah,
tell
yeah.
you one more platform that just went away?
Yeah.
Facebook Watch was the new syndication, and there were all the talk shows on Facebook Watch. Becky G, Jada Smith with Red Table Talk, the spinoff of Red Table Talk, and it was doing gangbusters. All those were doing really, really, gangbusters is not a word anymore, but it was doing really, really, really well. And they just shut down all of those, and they let go of all the folks in that department, and that's not a thing anymore.
As soon as Will Smith slapped Chris Rock, that
was
whole
it.
thing went
But
away.
I feel like the whole meta thing, they got rid of a lot of that department.
Yeah.
So like, it's
Yeah,
not
and
relevant.
again, great, smart people
Yeah.
who were brought over there and at the highest echelon creating this new avenue for talk shows because they weren't getting picked up in daytime
Right,
anymore.
right.
And then they just went, well, that didn't work. And you don't really know why,
Yeah.
because it's hard to know tracking and numbers on things like Facebook and, but all the Rubik's Cube pieces are just sort of like,
This is fascinating, by the way. I think we could do like 5
Yeah.
hours about this because the whole thing's pretty amazing, right? I mean, everything that's happening.
Well, it's
and-
the future of what we're all trying to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like we're trying to figure out
And
where
what
we're
is-
going.
Everything always ends up back on your phone.
yeah.
I know that.
Yeah.
No matter what. Bottom line is, as a creator, you should continue to come up with more creative, interesting things for people to watch.
Yeah, if you want to stay in the space, and but otherwise, I mean, what's the point?
Squid Game. Squid Game, I just recently watched it. I know people watched it a long time ago, but I recently watched it and I thought, wow, this is super unique. But I think the answer to all of these platforms and everyone watching is going to be innovation, creativity, and great shows that are different, because at the end of the day, the audience wants what they want, and right now they don't know what they want until you tell them what they want, right? Until you come up with something that is different and unique. So this was awesome. Thanks, Ann.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming
thanks,
in.
Ann.
You're
Will you do it
welcome.
again?
Sure.
Will you co-host again?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Yeah.
No, it's awesome to have someone as smart as you
Yeah.
on the show to tell everybody what's happening, because people want to know like really, really what's going on.
Yeah.
And I think today we actually let them know.
No, we
So
did, because us three try to figure it out, and it's funny. We're like, no, it's this way. No,
it's like
it's
the
this.
blind leading the blind in here.
Everyone everywhere, I think, is trying to read the tea leaves and figure it out. But you do know you're going to want to sit down in a movie theater or in front of your phone or a TV, and you're going to want to see good content.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree. Well, congrats on the show, Cheap Old Houses,
excited.
or Who's Afraid of a Cheap Old House, or the other names.
Thank you, HGTV.
Yeah, thank you, HGTV. Thanks, Bill Stanky, for meeting my wife and coming up with some really, really cool stuff.
Genius.
And he's a genius. And thanks to extrememusic.com. And you guys, should we do it again next week?
Let's do it again.
All right. Talk to you later. See you next time on extrememusic.com.
ExtremeMusic.com.
on Film Hustlers. Cool. That was awesome.